All right, thanks for the confirmation. If you can please go to the next slide. Right. Yeah. As I said, my name is Rendani, and my role is I'm the academic head for this particular program. Simply put, I look after the technical elements of the program, and with that, it means that when we talk about exam technique, when you talk about the question banks, when you talk about all the things that are here to really sharpen your competencies, to really shape you as the CEO of the future, that's my primary role. And as a result, it is very important that we start by just really unpacking the renewed thinking of the IAC. I really love the direction that SAICAM is going, as well as the other professional bodies, because when we talk about the future, it's quite important to realize that, as you might have seen yourself, that the world is getting increasingly complex. The amount of data that is generated is becoming much more and much more. And we, as CAs of the future, we need to be able to have not only the tools, but also the competencies in order to analyze the data, in order to be able to tell the story from the data, in order to take that story and convert it into strategies, convert it into decision making, and be able to create value at the end of the day. And when you look at the CA of the future framework, that is what it's all about. It's all about value creation. And that particular thinking has really been captured in the way that they have redesigned the syllabus and redesigned the terminologies, that every technical competence has now been refocused to say, where in the value creation is it? Because you need to then say that if now I'm being empowered to be mindful of value creation, when you are busy taking me through a class in finance, where does that fit in? And this is where now you might then say that, yeah, but finance we learn about making decisions. One of the decisions we learn about is making long-term investments using NPV tools, IRR, and so on. And if you think about those things, they are at the core of value creation, because I can't go and make a decision without not knowing whether it will generate a positive NPV or not. So that is essentially what the new competency framework is all about. And to really capture it, one will refer to these three integrated bubbles that are the cornerstone of the framework, to say that when we talk about the sea of the future, if you're to use a simple word, how can you describe them? And simply put, they are integrated thinkers. They are integrated thinkers. So by the time you complete this particular program, by the time you journey into by the time you journey into the APC, the objective is to see you as an integrated thinker. An integrated thinker, it's really it's really what a responsible leader in business. So those are some of the things that we are going to focus on. And during our time together, we will spend a lot of time on just unpacking and just looking at how everything talks together with regards to what? With regards to creating value. So that is the idea right here. But one will then say, okay, if I'm to create value, what am I looking at? So you are looking at technically, you need to be there. Technically, this is what we are talking about when we say accounting, math, audit, strategy, tax, and so on. Then we've got what we call the PVAs. The PVAs, these are professional values and attitudes. So whenever you hear me talk about PVA, I am referring to professional values and attitudes. Then we've got enabling competencies, which are, think about them simply put, these are the things that really our cognitive thinking is based on. These are the engine of our thinking process to say that if now you say to me 2 plus 2, I don't need to know whether that's maths, that's accounting, and so on, but my mind is ready to process that. And this then enables me to apply such skills when I'm in accounting, when I'm in math, when I'm in just a general situation. And as a result, it enables me to apply the technical that I already know. Because if I'm to calculate goodwill, I have to add and subtract numbers. If I'm to do an NPV, I have to add and subtract numbers. If I'm to do materiality in auditing, if I'm to do a taxable income calculation, that's what enabling competencies are all about. So as you can imagine, that's not a new body of knowledge that you need to learn, but it is the way of thinking. And that's what our program will then help you to do. How do you get there? How do you get comfortable when you read those scenarios to say, if it's an integrated scenario, where am I starting? When they say this, what is my mind triggering? How do I bring it about? How do I connect the dots that are there in the scenario? And these are the things that we are looking to empower you with and effectively develop in this particular program, and so that you can even use it beyond the program. Then with regards to the next slide, so let me do this. So with regards to the next slide, this is just a quick recap of the new IAC, in case maybe you're sitting for it for the very first time, so that you're not surprised what we're talking about. And also just to recap for those that are saying that, yeah, I just want to better align in terms of the thinking. So IAC Gen, we saw it coming with those 3 papers, each out of 120 marks, giving us a total of 360. And there were 3 scenarios as they promised, but the marks were split so that they could structure the teams. And that helps to some extent because it means that the level of complexity will be managed. As much as I'm a CA, if you ask me to go and mark tax, I need more training because my specialty is accounting, my specialty is management accounting strategy. So that's where I tend to fall. But if you say it's a 20-mark strategy, but a 5 marks or 10 marks tax, I don't mind that. So that for me really gives me comfort that you are never going to get a question that will have part A audit, part B tax, part C, and so on and so on. There will be somewhat of a collection of ideas. And that's something that was also revealed in ICGen and something that we have seen in the past. And for me, it's something that is so encouraging because it means that the level of complexity in terms of jumping around will be somewhat managed so that it becomes easier in order for one to mark and process those kind of thinking. Then, when one then really zooms into IAC Gen 2025, because it's important, especially for those that might have set for it and it didn't go well, to say that what was I dealing with? Because sometimes taking this a helicopter view, this high level view helps to put things into perspective. So as we saw, or as we are seeing, there were 3 papers And each of those 3 papers, we saw that it was out of 120 marks. And I've gone and looked at to say, but from a technical perspective, how were those marks split? And we are speaking about these PVAs. How significant were they to the overall story? So if we start there, those, excuse me, they accounted for 5% of the paper. So they accounted for 5% of the paper, meaning that when we are starting and our target is to get that 60% distinction and so on, it means that when we are looking at a pass, we are then saying that this 18 marks, this 5%, we need to ensure we hit. And once you get your script, if you're set for this paper, you need to then stop and say, out of those 18, how many did I lose? How many did I gain? And the target for me is to always say, you want as much as possible, and therefore set a minimum target of 75% when it comes to those marks. So a 75% on those marks, so that you know that when it comes to them, you are looking at 3.75% upwards. So that is your starting point. If you got all of them, it means 5% it's in the bag. Then the next thing is to say, technically, where do I need to focus on? So one of the things about value creation, it means that we cannot create value without having strategies that build and drive that value. So those strategies will therefore, for us, be something that we closely look at as SRMG. SRMG stands for strategy, risk management, and governance. I know for CTA, those used to come as math or management accounting and finance. But if you think about value creation, I need strategies to drive growth. I need strategies to help me manage my risk. I need strategies to ensure that I am operating, being mindful of my ecosystems. So if we then look at Gen IAC, 21% was pure strategy. So this is strategy, as in discuss the factors, identify the risk, advise on the appropriate strategy. That's that. And in those, there were no calculations. It was just strategy. So you then need to really put this into perspective that, one, are you surprised? Two, does that make you feel comfortable going forward? And how, better yet, can you empower yourself to get there? And in our sessions, that's what we're going to focus on. And most of the time, we will then spend time unpacking the frameworks that can help you there do that, and also working on your enabling competencies. Because once you are able to master the breaking down of the scenario, you are able to see a lot of points that are relevant. Then you have pure math. Pure math was about what? Was about 54 or 15% of the paper. And that was almost equivalent to tax. And then we've got audit and accounting almost standing fairly around the same set of marks. So with this, one could then say that, sure, what are some of the key takeaways? If I'm looking to hit that 50% at a minimum, where am I going to get my pass? And as you can see, Strategy, it's not something you can ignore. And then if you then say that my target, it's that because it's framework driven, because it's part of my enabling competencies, I don't have to study this a lot. I need to just practice this a lot. It is easy to then target a 60% there, meaning that you have now about what? You have now about 12 or 13 of the percentage that you need from SRMG. When combined with the PVAs, you are sitting just under 20% right there. And what the reason why I'm starting there is because I want to highlight to you the power of this of unpacking and understanding the new competency framework. Because if this then is an indication of how we expect to see things, it means that from tomorrow, when you kick off from the program, you can start working on strategy, question, strategy models. And because there is not quite a lot to test in terms of the underlying technical competencies, you can get to master this by the time we get to mid-May and end of May, you will be an expert, meaning that you will now have confidence that come strategy, come PVAs, I'll be able to nail and target anything between what? Anything between 18 to 20 marks or percent right there. Then that means you can now think about from a technical perspective, how do I get to my success? And as you can see, there are fairly not too far from each other in terms of what you need to do. So that means even during the course of our program, we are going to be spending a fair amount of time on all the discipline, highlighting some of the core aspects and also the complex aspect so that you're comfortable when it comes to the technical. And for those that what do you call it? For those that say, I really want to go deep into this particular paper, one of the things in the program we're going to do, we are busy developing pre-recorded content where we will be going through these papers, providing practical strategies for you. And when you get to a time where now you're saying that I'm ready to work through this, I'm ready to take a reflection on my attempt, you will then be afforded an opportunity to what? To work through that, mark yourself, and even better, consult with our team to ensure you get the very best from that process. Another thing that I want you to be mindful of, yes, these papers are integrated, but if you look at it, there is always going to be dominant aspects of the paper. Let's look at paper one. Paper one out of 120, you can see clearly that the dominant was tax, and it was what? It was audit on paper one. Accounting for, if we take PVAs into account, about 100 marks out of the 120. Then if you look at paper two, you then have a similar overweight, but now it is directed towards accounting as well as asset SRMG, also when combined with PVAs, sitting at somewhere around 100 marks. Then paper three, we then look at it closely and we see that math audit there were the dominant one, and also combining with what? Combining with the PVAs, you are sitting at just under 90 marks. So that is another thinking that you need to keep at the back of your mind, that in some cases, the integration will be there, but it should not scare you. And one of the things that even when you look back, papers that tend to integrate all the discipline means that There will never be an overweight topic or an overweight discipline that will ever bring you down. Meaning that you just need to ensure you attempt the entire paper, you have an effective strategy of scoring some of the easier marks first, and so on. So when we discuss this IAC Gen 2025 paper, I'll want you to take those lessons, apply them to our baseline exam, as well as to our final exam. But that is just on an overall what we have now with regards to the IAC competency framework and how it looked like when it came to Gen. So let me pause here and let me just take any questions if we've got any questions on that. Any clarity? Sorry. Someone's mic is open. I don't know if they're trying to ask a question. Ndamo, if you can check, please. Any questions? Are we clear? Oh, yes. Zinhle, please.
Good evening. Clarissa, I don't know if I missed your point. You said that the classes would start tomorrow, or?
Oh, no. So the classes are not starting tomorrow. Well, what I was just highlighting is because when it comes to strategy, there isn't much content from technical perspective. So as soon as you are enrolled, there are videos on your pastel, porters, and general value creation process. Once you go through those, you'll probably not need to go through them again, but you can start jumping and doing questions even before we kick off any of the technical content in the program. That's what I was trying to get to. Thank you for the clarification.
Okay. Second one,
yeah. Sure.
When does the program actually start? And with regards to consultations, is there like a booking for it? Do we book in advance? Like how much in advance? Is it 2 days in advance, or can we book same day for the same day, you know?
All right, I'll get to that. Sure. So I'll get to that, but we use Microsoft Bookings, and then I'll show you. Will I be able to? I'll explain to you. But once you are in the program, we do have a session where we go through our system. We use Microsoft, so we've got Viva, Engage from Microsoft. We've got SharePoint. We've got OneDrive. We've got Outlook. So it's a typical Microsoft system. So if you have seen the Microsoft booking system, it works exactly like that. But we have a session, we'll go through everything, but I'll explain to you how it works in the next slide. Yes. Got that? Thank you, Zinhle. All right, cool. So, Humotso, yeah, before we go.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I can see that the session is being recorded. Where can we get access to this recording?
So two places. If you don't have a profile as yet on our Microsoft system, where you got the Open Day link, so this is on our website. There is a section called Open Day. So tomorrow around 11, then the Open Day tab will now be empty to say we've just delivered an Open Day, and then there will be previous Open Day session, and that's where the videos will be. And if you are already registered and you've got a profile on our system, when you are in our community, there is a community called Endonamo Candidate Support. When you click the library, there will be a folder for Open Days, and this will be one of the set of videos that will be there for your consumption.
Thank you.
All right. Cool. I am wondering if the course will cater for any prospective changes to this gen structure. I know Saika likes changes, and the June exam has a habit of sorry, my mouse has disappeared.